So I am Rob Birt of Rob Birt Graphic Design and Illustration. I specialize in illustration, and you basically, Rob, what kind of illustration do you do? Right? Well, I do cute stuff, for one, right down to something that looks like clip art, but it's designed for people. I do fine art type of illustration. I do technical type of illustration. Well, okay, what do you do with this type of stuff? Well, a lot of the technical stuff that I do actually goes on to the United States Patent and Trademark Office for inventors and everything. Believe it or not, there's a lot of engineers and inventors who don't know how to draw pictures. It goes on products, t-shirts, magazines, bookbinders, greeting cards, posters, mugs, skateboards, buttons, stamps, backpacks, pillows, phone cases.
Do you actually have a U.S. stamp?
Yeah.
Really?
It gets sold by a separate company that basically is allowed to do that type of thing. Cool. But it also goes into animated videos. I've done animated videos as well. And books. Okay? Those are all, that's where illustration gets used in society. And it's used by a lot of people. That's what I do. But this is about me and some of the things I've done this last year and what I've gotten accomplished. Ended up headed to Aruba this last year. I was really excited about that. Bone Beanie Aruba, which means like welcome to Aruba, and have a good time. Got to go parasailing, went into a submarine, did horseback riding, did some real sailing, caving, saw the sights, and lots of water and reefs. Ate plenty of awesome food.
That is one big prawn.
I want it. It's awesome.
I think Rob should do breakfast next month.
I think you just ate it. I don't think you cooked it.
That was fresh that day, that morning, that they actually caught that. I finished my deck this year. Totally awesome. I'm excited. I get to go out and have burgers on my deck and watch the train go by. I went out to Chicago, hit a winery out in the Dutch area, and I did not survive a zombie infestation attack, unfortunately. But those are some of the things that I've done this year. One of the other things that I also did this year is I've taken, part of my job is actually to stay on top of technology. And so I ended up going out, trying new things. And one of the things that I've actually ended up doing this year is taking a class on game app design. And believe it or not,
What's that? What did he just say?
game app design.
Oh, I think you got to be sure to enunciate that.
Game app design. Yeah, right?
I don't know that I want to see this. Wow.
That can actually be like on your phone and stuff like that. And this eventually may be another venture that I end up jumping into.
I feel like I've seen this game before.
Maybe. Like I said, I'm learning. Okay?
Not creating, learning.
So I'm not going full professional with that yet. But those are some of the things that I end up doing. And this is actually something I do in my spare time. So, any questions?
I do have spare time.
How do I have spare time? Like I said, spare time. I don't sleep much. Beyond that, that's basically my.
What about work-wise? What are you doing this year?
What am I doing? I can't tell you about what I'm doing this year because all the patent stuff is actually confidential. until it actually gets published.
Or you can say you got patent stuff.
I'm doing tons of patent stuff.
But if he tells you, he has to kill you.
Yes, I do. I actually have a hired hitman team that's working on.
Any actual, you can't tell us what they are, but are there any, good ones that you think will be successful?
We should invest in.
Well, we're in.
Not being recorded.
We're in Colorado, and you would not believe how many marijuana associated patents there are that are coming out.
Oh,
Yeah. Do you have to test it?
I don't have to.
Good answer. That's right.
I have a question for game design. Looks like you're using Unity.
Yes, which
Why Unity?
one, they actually allow you to use this to develop stuff for free, up to you making $100,000 a year. Up to that point, and then you actually end up having to pay for the licensing and stuff like that. But you can actually use this program to do stuff.
So instead of pirating, you're going.
Yeah, it doesn't pay to be a pirate.
All right. Would pay the difference.
It can actually cost you more in the long run. Copyright issues, trademark issues, and all that other stuff. So,
Why do you do what you do?
why do I do it? Because I can't. What do I say?
Sleep.
Can't not do it.
Yeah, I can't not be this person. A lot of how I describe what I have a relationship with my art, and I basically kind of consider myself married to it. And as far as I'm concerned, I've been married to it since I was about 5 years old. And so the more time I put into that relationship, the better my relationship gets.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
Does Julie know about that?
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, yeah. First love.
Actually, yeah. It's because it's funny. It's a you can't do that type of work and not have it your passion show through and actually have it be good. So it's the only way to do that is by cultivating and having. And there's good days and there's bad days, and there's days where there's where you don't want to be doing it at all, where you don't want to be associated with it. But there's also those great days that you end up investing into it and invest a lot of time and you come out with something that's great. I define a lot of my artwork and my design work as basically two different things. And that's because what I design for is I design for people. And it's a collaboration at that point. And I basically offer my skill set to help people develop that type of stuff. But as far as my artwork goes, it's an expression of me. And a lot of my artwork, because it's all me, it's a sharing of me. Kind of like sharing my children. That ends up actually being a lot more expensive than what I offer out in design.
That's it.
I saw a cartoon that you relate to. It was an artist standing at his easel and he was saying to himself, my wife is complaining that I'm still here in the studio working on this artwork, and the artwork answers back, I can't believe you're still sleeping with her.
Cute.
There was one of the earlier pieces that I did when I was in college. I ended up actually spending about 27 hours straight working before, and that was just one session of working piece, but that's where it goes, and when you're involved, when you're talking about your artwork, time goes away. I mean, think about the people that you really enjoyed spending time with, or the things that you enjoy doing. You don't care about the time. It's you care about that moment that you're invested into it, and when that comes out in our work or whatever you do, it really does show. Anything else?
I'll ask a question that maybe every one of us can gain from, and that is, insurance is kind of dry. But how could I incorporate your talents into my business to kind of lift it up and add a little kind of sense of humor to it? Or, I mean, would you sit down with me and saying, okay, I could do this and this for you? And you could...
One of the things that I'm developing, actually, the connections I met in the group is with Heather Sue. And she ended up connecting me with a company that's out of New York, and they do bus tours. And they do, but they're not selling it to the people, they're selling it to the bus tour agents. And what we're actually doing is developing a comic book for them to get their message across. And basically, it's amazing how something softer, cuter, introduces, it's kind of like a comedy, if I were to use a metaphor. A lot of hard topics are often tell a deeper story via use of comedy, but they still convey the same type of message. It's the same thing with using something fun. There's one of the clients that I'm going to start doing some smaller illustration stuff for, has to deal with oil in the gas business. And she's talking about, well, it's not just a carpet ride. So we're going to end up having, this person on the carpet, flying around and going, but you're conveying an emotion and an attitude with those imageries, and that's what you're trying to get to people, to get them interested in. Not necessarily all the technical stuff they have sitting there, because face it, a lot of decisions are based upon your emotions and what you need on that spectrum.
I think Flow is going to be available soon.
Yeah.
With your TV entertainment.
I think creating a property casualty comic book. Wow.
What? That's a great idea.
There's actually a comic book about the Federal Reserve and its importance in society.
Like Flat Stanley, property casualty comic book. Good stuff.
Flat Stanley.
Thanks, Rob.
So-
That's it.
Any other questions, last questions? Okay. Well, thanks, Rob.